Hey, Corey.
Oh, there you are. I was going to say,
Can
you
hear me?
disappeared. Oh, there you are. Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah.
It sounds like
Okay,
you have
hold
your phone and your computer audio on, so you may want to go with one or the other.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just having some continual internet problems over here in Sacramento, so I can relate to all of us out there. Well, listen, everybody, I'm super excited about our second summit. Our overall objective is to share best practices, resources, connect with each other, network, and strengthen the West Coast when it comes to issues that we're going to be tackling in DC and beyond. So we're really enjoying a 4-state consortium. We've added Oregon. I think Washington will join along too at some point. We're just going to keep moving this along, and we've got a super great lineup. And I'm super excited to introduce a good friend of ours and a great advocate for small rural districts all throughout the United States, Christian Rogers, who really is the go-to guy for all of us on everything that's happened in DC. He breaks things down very succinct. I think he has no problem keeping things in 5 minutes. Just a couple of things after Christian talks. I'll let my speakers know if you go beyond 5 minutes, you might get the old gong show. Eric's going to go get a gong and hit the gong show and put people away. But we want to keep this short and succinct, so I'll give you a 30-second warning. Probably shoot a bell at you. I got a bell in my ring at 30 seconds, and keep it laser focused. I think a lot of us are tired of Zoom, so we're looking to do things in 5-minute increments. Get the word out there, get a connection, and if you have ongoing things you want to share with the person presenting, that'd be great. Christian, I really appreciate you stepping up. Alan Pratt's a dear friend of ours too, and are the lead of the NREA. But we always lean on you to help us figure out what the heck's going on in Washington, D.C. So welcome to the West Coast. I know you're going to need us with the changing of the guard and a vice president from California, from Oakland, actually. So we're excited to help you out any way we can to make sure our needs are being met by the folks in D.C. So welcome to our summit.
Thank you so much for that introduction. As was mentioned, my name is Christian Rogers. I'm a federal policy analyst here at ASA, the School Superintendents Association. So in my role specifically, I handle issues related to rural education, school infrastructure, school environmental, school nutrition related activities. At ASA, my boss likes to say our main mission is to elevate the voices of superintendents on Capitol Hill. And that's what we've been doing throughout this pandemic. So we've been very active on the Hill thus far this year. They're very engaged in the passage of the coronavirus economic relief bills. Looking towards the next administration, we have just released our vision and recommendations for what the Biden administration should do with regards to education, called A New Vision for a New Administration. In that issue brief, we tackle issues related to fully funding IDEA, making sure that rural educators and rural school districts have a seat at the table for a new administration, advocating for programs that get highly diverse and qualified teachers into smaller rural school districts, and increasing retention rate for districts that have teacher shortages. So we, again, have a very exciting year ahead of us. Just quickly noting here, in lame duck session, we are expecting, hopefully, a resolution to the FY21 appropriations process, which for reference funds the government agency by agency, program by program, and concludes our slice of the pie for education funding. So on lame duck session, we're hopefully going to see a continued resolution that should level fund the government and maybe provide a slight increase to U.S. education funding as a whole. Again, I think I'm just honored again to be here and representing all the people doing the work on the ground. Happy to answer any questions that you may all have with regard to federal education policy. We at ASA are on Twitter. We have a blog where we post all of our policy updates, and you can also catch up with the team via our podcast. So again, my name is Christian Rogers. You can reach me at crogers@asa.org since I know this is being recorded. And yeah, happy to be here and talking to you all.
Hey, Christian, two things. One, anything we can do out here to help the cause. I know we talked a lot about having a department specific for rural education again, to restart that. And anything we can do to talk to folks out here on both sides of the aisle, please let us know. We're here to help assist you. And with that transition, we know that window's short. And then secondly, to everyone, I always say your updates to me make me look really smart to my own board. So I always tell superintendents, if you join NREA or AASA, you get Christian's updates, and then you can have them for your board so they know that you're not just paying attention to your district, but way beyond. I really appreciate your short, to the point, and make them look really smart. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for the compliments. And I'll just say that I think the goal for the next administration right now is to get a seat at the table with a long-term vision of, again, trying to push for an office or department of rural education. Right now, the transition team hasn't even really been certified by the government yet. So they don't have a chance to get running on the work that needs to be done. So in the first half of the administration, at least, again, I think the main goal is going to be getting rural education a seat at the table, which, thinking about the outlook looks good, right? I mean, Senator Susan Collins has made rural education a priority in her state, and just given her position in the Senate, I think we're going to have a little bit more of a say-so about rural ed programs. So just some things to think about with regards to the 117th Congress and where things will stand.
Well, I don't get too excited about things, but that Georgia last two elections will be worth having some popcorns up there with the national title football game. That'll be an interesting January 3rd.
I know. It's going to be very interesting. I'm not going to get political, but we'll definitely have to wait to see how it plays out.
Good job. Good job. Hey, thanks for calling from back east. And again, welcome to our West Coast collaboration here. And anything we can do to help you, please reach out to us. We'd love to help you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Christian. Appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to get started. We have what I call Ignite presentations. They're up to 5 minutes. And I have my little clock here. If any of you guys hear that's your 30-second warning. After 30 seconds, we might just, we can mute you. So I'll put that in Corey's court. But we're looking forward. What a great lineup. We're going to talk about the arts. We're going to talk about, all kinds of things. You can see what we've got. And I'm really excited to get going. And we get to start out with a really great leader out of Knights Ferry, Janet Scalina. And Janet, thanks for kicking things off. You're the leadoff hitter. And again, I've enjoyed working with you, and looking forward to hear what you got to offer us.
That's a little scary. I do have a PowerPoint, so I don't know if I just
share your screen. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. I'm not so good at this. My teachers are way better than I am. So let's see. I have it pulled up. There it is. All right.
Perfect.
I don't know if I can hit play it, or I'll just do it this way. So our school was the first to open in Stanislaus County. 145 students. Stanislaus County is a conservative area, and like everywhere else is now purple. It was in the red tier. So we are operating currently with our K through 8 students. We have all grades back. I'm going to skip this part because everybody knows you have to plan like crazy. I may skip that too. I can go back to that because we did have multiple plans. We started in June, July, trying to be ready for all contingency. We are currently operating a hybrid. So we have Mondays is distance learning, and then the other groups of kids are broken into really small groups, and they come Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday. That is our cohort. We do temperature checks. You can see I've bold-faced that here. Every single student receives a temperature check out in front of the school before they go to class. And if we have students, we send students home. We've been operating for 9 weeks with kinder without any issues, but we're really strict with what we're doing. And we can be because we're tiny. And I think as power of the smalls, I'm sorry about this, not looking actually like a fancy slideshow, but you can see here's our 6th grade class. We have 13, we broke a class this year. So the one class, the 5th grade is really big and the 6th grade is really small. And we have 2 teachers. We're excited about that. These kids do wear masks. We use positive reinforcement for mask wearing and encouragement versus any kind of punishment for that. Because for those of us that have to wear a mask every day, it's weird and kind of uncomfortable. But you see that's our setup with the kids. They're spread out quite a long ways. Our kindergarten class looks a little different. Our kindergartners, it doesn't look, wait, maybe I can do this. I don't need to see myself. There we go, that's better. Now I've lost the pictures of children. Oh, here they come. Nope. The teachers are so good at this, and you can see that distance learning is not at all easy. There we go. I don't know where the children went, but we've been full. Our kindergarten class is 14 students, and we have had them for 9 so far. There they are, with no issues. We measured out 6 feet between them. We got permission from our health department to, if they were structured in this way, as long as they were 6 feet apart, they did not have to wear masks because they're little and all the issues with the age group. I'm not going to go too much into our schedule because and again, I can go back if I go less than 5. This is our lunchroom. We converted it from tables, the typical lunch tables, and put desks in there so the kids wouldn't be sitting together at the tables. Outside, we have an outside area where the kids also eat, again, very much spread out. Some of our groups are bigger than others. Playground area, see this is 3rd grade. They're wearing their masks like they do all the time. More playground area. And at the end of the day, we have use 2-way radios, and the teachers stay in the class with their students and we call them out. All of this was done without an MOU, without needing to negotiate. We got together as a staff and said, this is what we want to do. We want the kids to come back and we want to make it work and be safe. So I was fortunate in that. We are doing surveillance testing. 100% of my staff now, I believe, has been tested. We are using a free county test site. And as our numbers ramp up, I'm hoping those test sites will be available to us. But all the staff has been tested. Again, I was fortunate that there were no issues about, I don't want to do this testing, I don't have to do this testing. We just did it because that's what we needed to do to make it work. PBEs, of course, we have lots of these. This guy over here on the left has become my friend. We have 5 of these on campus. They're a little particular, but they're nice. You walk around and you grab some hand sanitizer. And then the other thing that I think is probably of great interest, and our district has been quite generous because we're small, our salary schedule is fairly low. We have created an MOU with the teachers, and that was something the board requested, so that the teachers could teach at home if they were able and make it work for them. And I have a teacher now who's quarantining. I think that might have been the sound, not sure.
That was the sound.
Was that the sound?
Yeah, you have 20 seconds. Good.
20 seconds. So right now we have a teacher who's quarantining at home because he was a contact of someone who tested positive. So he's teaching virtually. The kids are in class, and so far it's been going fairly well, except for I had to be in the class today. As a superintendent principal, I do everything, including presentations and sub in lunch. Anyway, so this is something we did that is a really good thing for small schools to retain your teachers. And, since our salary schedules are tiny also. Little things like this make a difference. All done. I think that was it.
Good stuff. Hey, everyone, if you need detailed, meticulous leadership on keeping your school safe and your children and staff safe, give Janet a jingle. She's got every inch of that place down to a T. And thanks for your leadership, Janet. You've been stellar on helping get our kids back to face-to-face instruction, and it comes down to your leadership. So thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Hey, you're welcome. Hey, thanks. Hey, Rick Hall, I can't wait to hear from you up. I like this one. Here we go. Managing 3 student groups with 1 teacher and limited technology. That sounds like a small school district 101. So looking forward to hearing your presentation, and you got 5 minutes. Go for it.
All right. We thought you might enjoy the title there. And I have my assistant superintendent, Dr. Hughes, with me as well, because she's the brains behind the operation of this. But very quickly, we're Lemon Unified. We're just 10 miles east of Stockton, 2,300 population. We're TK-12, single high school district. Oddly enough, we have like 1 elementary school is like suburban, and everything else is more rural. So it's an interesting balance because the personalities are very different among our schools. But we started off district learning. We were going to start with the hybrid. There's a lot of anxiety, so we said we'll start with the hybrid. Then, of course, that was pulled out from under us. We started off with distance learning. And we have a split community, probably like some of you do, where for every comment about wanting to have kids back on campus, we're hearing comments that it's too dangerous to have kids back on campus. So we currently are in week 2 of a model. We started off with our distance learning, and then we had to manage how are we going to keep as many of our families as happy as possible. Being a small district, we don't have the resources. So we wanted to look at how we can provide social distancing, because that was real important for our community. Sorry, our lights just went off. And so we created an A and B schedule, but then we had to figure out how we're going to support our students whose parents said, no, they're not coming in at all. We want to do this distance thing 5 days a week. So Jamie and I spent a lot of times in the classrooms. We started seeing some models out there that we thought, hey, gosh, you can't buy technology right now and not have it go on back order, and there's a lot of good things out there. But look at how some of these teachers are setting up their classrooms. We kind of envisioned what it might look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the shared screen here, so Jamie can walk us through.
So we had a lot of conversations with teachers over time, which helped a lot on trying to figure out where they are and their anxiety level with remote learning. And that's that live instruction going on for the kiddos who are in the classrooms and the ones who are in home. So it doesn't matter where you sit. We want to give you the same opportunity of learning and the same equal access to the instructor during that time. And that goes for TK-12, so even our littles there. And so we started out with the teachers of going, where are you at today? And we had so many conversations going on that now they were like, how do I do it? Like, what does it look like? I don't even know what it looks like. Go ahead. And so the areas of consideration were the daily schedule. So what does the schedule look like in the school? The overall school schedule. What does the daily schedule look like in the classroom? How is the teacher going to manage at home students and in the classroom students? What does the design of the classroom look like? Where is everything situated? Where are you going to put your kids that are in classrooms? Where are you going to have your technology? Where are you going to stand to present instruction? How are the students at home going to see what the students in the classroom see? Who's around to support you in this process? What about the Chromebooks for the kids that are coming into the class on hybrid days and going home? What does that look like? And what are the other factors there that we need to consider?
I also want to add that we do spend a lot of time in our classrooms, and so we had a good grasp, I think, of what teachers were doing with distance learning. So we saw what would work, but we definitely saw what would not work in this model. And a lot of our teachers were honkered down. They had all their equipment around their desk, and a lot of them were sitting at their desk. very comfortably doing distance teaching and learning. And so we knew we had to send the message out that this is very doable, but you got to get out from behind your desk. You got to get out in a position where both students in desks as well as students on screen can have access to you and your material.
So the daily schedule, we asked our teachers these questions. We also asked ourselves, what are our district expectations? How are teachers going to have the opportunities to work with their PLCs, with their administrators, families, for the schedule to work? What does the teacher planning and preparation look like in order to provide this remote learning opportunity? And what we found through all of this is the gift of time. And when we gave our teachers the week before we started our hybrid model, the gift of time to work through what their classroom schedule would look like, and the flexibility that way, we found that was the best way that teachers could wrap their heads around what it looks like in their classroom and the children they serve.
Now, to add to this, when we started the school year, when we had to go to distance learning, we had 3 PD days. So we changed our school calendar. We moved all the PD days up at the beginning of the year and gave the teachers that gift of time with the focus on how are you going to teach kids remotely. So that was a good lead into this process. I also want to mention that some teachers were frustrated because they wanted us to tell them exactly how they were going to do this. And so our message was, we're going to create the box and you're going to play in that box the way you need to play as long as you stay within that box. These are our parameters. Now work together collaboratively to figure out how you can do it. Because what we found is you have those that are very capable and you have those that are afraid to touch anything in terms of technology.
So kind of just going through, what does the design of your classroom look like? And what do you need help with? And I took a team with me and walked to every classroom, and I had technology with us and our county technology, and we went through every classroom and said, what are you thinking? What is it going to look like for students that are sitting in front of you? How do you want to position your classroom? And just being present helped lower the anxiety on the design of the classroom. Then
okay, guys, you got like 20 seconds.
Got it. Who can support me? So, you know, finding those support people during this process. Keep going.
Hey, Rick, great stuff. And again, I think the idea of upfront loading PD and really communicating well with teachers, or some are like deer in headlights, good stuff. And I reach out to all you guys. Rick will definitely get back to you, and good connection to make. And they've been there, done that. And thanks for all your work down in Stockton there. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good job. Hey, Dr. Leslie Molina from Nevada, not Humboldt. That's our Humboldt. You got your Humboldt. Welcome, and we're looking forward. I love the word transitions. I think that's what it's all about with our children. So welcome, and your 5 minutes going to start in a couple seconds.
Tim, I don't think Leslie's with us yet. I sent her a reminder email. So if we want to, Leslie, are you on? Am I incorrect?
Okay.
All right, well, let's move on to Nicole Baker, who is next in line.
You got it. Hey, Nicole.
Hey, how's it going?
Up near Orland. Nice to see you and hear your voice. Looking forward to talking about parent involvement health checks. Great stuff. Thanks for being here.
Don't start my time till I got my presentation up, buddy.
Yes, you got it.
Is it up?
Yeah,
it
looks
is.
Pretty.
All right. Hey, thanks. So here we go. K-8 School District, Lake Elementary School. We're about 20 minutes northwest of Chico. For those of you not in the area, about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of Sacramento, our capital. Pretty small rural school district, 180 ADA. We're looking at 1 class per grade level, 20 kids in a class. And my staffing, we got 15 full-time educators and or full-time staff, and then about 17 part-time folks. And we are not really located in a town. We have a dairy north of us and orchards around us. So, you know, nothing, I mean, we're close to Orland, but that's about it. Let's see. So the health screening thing with a big, I didn't want to do health checks at school. It was an issue I had to deal with. And some of it was based on my own personal experience of going through that process, going to doctor's offices this summer, knowing I had limited staff available to perform those health checks. the time I was concerned about it taking, space if I had a kid, where was I going to put that kid to quarantine? If I had one kid, probably be okay, but if I had 2 or 3 that showed up with a fever, I was concerned about the space. But my biggest piece in all of this was getting some parent accountability. I think we've talked about it for years, even before a pandemic, is why are you sending your kids to school sick, right? We all know who are on our staff. The parents that load their kids up with Tylenol when they send them even before the pandemic. So we really wanted to take a step back and find some silver lining in all of this and help our parents be accountable. So with all that, I don't know about everybody else out there, but during this pandemic, the email floodgate was opened in my inbox, and I was overwhelmed with the amount of emails I received. And I found myself in what I call my accidental webinar. I got on a webinar by accident. It interested me about a program that was available to do the screen checks. It was a mobile app. It looked really pretty. It had graphs and charts, and I could push a button and see which kid didn't pass the screening. But it came with a pretty price tag of about $8,500. And so it was not something I was willing to invest in, even with the additional funding that we got. So I thought, you know what, I can do it with a Google form. So what we've done is we've created a student daily health screening check that the parents submit before their student can step on campus. So what that kind of looks like is on that form, we have their name, their grade, and then my bus driver also has access it to, so that she knows the kids getting on her bus have performed the health screening check. It asks 7 basic questions that we're all kind of familiar with. And then I push it out every morning to parents. It's a daily text that they get at 6:15. They have to fill one out, submit the form before they drop their kid off at school. Our drop off is from 8 to 8:30. I have 3 of us out there, myself is included. It's a great PR opportunity for me to be out in the public, right? Checking kids off. So it's myself, my bus driver when she gets off her bus route, and then one of my aides. We're looking at a Google sheet, and then because it's Google, it's live in the moment. And so we do a strike through of the kids that have been checked so that we know we can get them out of our parking lot. So I did kind of a screen capture here of what that looks like. So this was from yesterday. As those kids are coming through, we're marking them off so we can see visually. I'm gonna go ahead and go to this, see if I can go to it live. The other thing I did is I did some conditional formatting. So can you still see that? Am I on the live piece now?
Yes, you're on a Google Sheet?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did some conditional formatting that allows me, instead of having to scroll across and see the yeses or nos, I know right away if it's a yes, it's set up to be read. And so yesterday, you know, we had this little guy, Edgar, they answered yes to a couple of questions, but we know from his health form at school that he also suffers from some significant allergies. So it was our determination, can this kid come to school, or is this allergy related? And so those are the things that we can access right away. And then the other thing that we do is, like for my bus driver, she can sort this, and if they answer yes to this, they know that they're getting on the bus. And then she has this available to her when she's checking those kids. Basically, whoops. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So that's what we're doing. It's working. We're in our 3rd week using it. I clear out the forms at the end of the morning and start with the next day. So that's it.
Gosh,
Thank
Nicole,
you.
what a great way. What a great document. Thank you so much. And
Yep.
like you say, it's a good way to keep you informed what's going on with all the kids arriving too. That's what makes your lake school so great. So thank you so much, and great seeing you again. And appreciate the feedback, the work you gave us. Hey, last week we held a mental health summit, and our next speaker, Stuart Packard, our SSDA president, they mentioned that kids need their binky and their blankets to feel safe and secure. And one of the things I've been watching out of Stuart is how he's trying to keep his school rituals alive and active on social media. His mascots and other things he does makes kids and the parents feel safer in a world full of negativity. So Stuart, looking forward to hearing about the use of social media to tell your story about what's happening in Buttonwillow. Beautiful Buttonwillow.
Okay, well, thanks, Tim, because basically that's what we had to do. We had to come from a place that was not very well thought of in terms of the academics and everything when I started. So I'm going to share the screen here really quick. Are you seeing, what are you seeing right now? Oh. Are you seeing?
We're seeing a good looking man. Oh, there it is. There you go.
Yep,
Now we got your PowerPoint.
Whew, get me off there. Let's get the orange backdrop on there. Is that what you're looking at right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So who are we as a school and a district? We're a single school district. We are about 320 students, 360 if you count our state preschool, which is a pain in the backside to run, but very effective when you're having 40 3- and 4-year-olds that you can start addressing educationally really quick. We are 28 miles west of Bakersfield. We're 126 miles north of Los Angeles, and we're 258 miles south of San Francisco. And we have the cheapest gas on I-5 and an awesome barbecue place by the name of Willow Ranch.
I love it.
So, okay, there we go. When I came to the school, I came from a school of 1,000 K-5 students. I am afraid of heights. And so this ski jumper, I think this was the Calgary Olympics, but the school board hired me and they said, improve student academics, move out bad teachers, balance the budget, which was running $400,000 a year deficit spending, change our image and fix our culture. That's about the way I felt, the same way I would feel if I was the ski jumper. It would have been, as Steve Farber is a speaker, he calls it your OSM, and we'll just call it an oh shoot moment right now. But I had an OSM right there when I started. So when we were starting, the school district, one of the people at one of my very first staff meetings, they were only using email for 3 people 10 years ago, if you can imagine that. And the comment was, well, the technology, it's just button Willow. I said, there will be no comments about it's just button Willow. Now we have 65-inch monitors in our classrooms that the teachers are using for virtual learning. We have a tremendous amount of things going on, but this is the way I felt after the person said it. Did you really just say that? So what did we do? We raised student achievement. That's another story. We're in the top 2 to 6% in percentage of growth on the last assessments that we could actually record with the state. We moved out our bad teachers, 5 of them in 1 year, which was about 20% of our teachers. That's another story. We balanced our budget and are actually putting $200,000 to $300,000 a year into our reserves going into this year. So we're about 35% reserves. We fixed our culture, which is a major part of this story, and we changed our image, which is most of the story. It's a piece of cake. Yeah, right. But that is claim jumper mother load cake. So that's always a good thing to have. This is for you, Tim, because we created a winning team. And since the Angels are my favorite team, and this is the year they beat the Giants, which is Tim's favorite team, in the World Series, we thought it would be appropriate. But it started with creating a team. It started at the top, but then it created a team where everybody is working together as peers. We started using social media, and we incorporated fun. You can see here, Rhodey and Gumby. Gumby made an appearance this year because we started throwing out Gumby is flexible. You can see our preschool teachers are actually doing online lessons to our preschool students, and they're dancing. We were out having tricycle races one day out of the office staff. And last year, we decided that our last staff meeting before Christmas break would be who can design the best gingerbread house. So those are the kind of things that we do to create that environment. We used Rhodey. Rhodey, you can see here, has a mask and a cape. He takes on the theme of the year that we've had. We've had Super Rhodey, Captain Rhodey. We just have had Rhodey. And then this year, because everybody's being flexible, they got their button willow masks, but everybody has a Gumby. And you can see mine way back there in the very back on my wall. But Rhodey was out to hand out books and everything this year. Rhodey was handing out Top Roadrunner yard signs that we do. Hi, Corey. This is from last year. So this was Administrative Professionals Day during the closure last year. So we had a hi, Corey, because Corey is such a great administrative professional for our association. See, Gumby made it out to there. We take Gumby around the community and have him doing important things. Cotton was one of the key elements of the development of Button Willow. And here he is out at the cotton gin after it's come through the gin or they're getting ready to take it in. I grew up in Orange County, so I still have to ask questions about the country. We highlighted our past. Good afternoon, Roadrunners. Hey, I'm in the hallway of our original building built in 1927. And right here next to me is an article done by Bakersfield, California in 2007. Now, in that article, there's ones about the children over here that you can just see. So that is a tremendous part of the Button Willow past, are those mosaics that are done. We also highlighted, this is all during our closure, we highlighted the Teacher of the Year. Good morning, Roadrunners. Today we are in front of Button Willow School. And today is actually Day of the Teacher. Miss Thompson is our Teacher of the Year this year. But as we go through these doors into the past of Button Willow School, we have to recognize that there were also tremendous teachers who have been here over the years. Button Willow School was founded in 1900, but consisted of, oh, we are going into the Twilight Zone history of some of Button Willow. Let's go back to 1944. I wonder if this person had an inter-district transfer from Norris School District. One of the other things we did is we try and do things for the staff. We have a brand new office staff this year, and we decided that we would have the Friends Edition that we support everybody. You'll notice Gumby shows up in all of the videos.
Stu, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds because you're the president.
Okay. Then we did Teacher of the Year. We had the yearbook announcements. We had Rhodey and the Easter Bunny. The Parks and Rec Department for Button Willow. We also had the food donations. Our teachers go out on food donations. And this is the last one. Okay, so we create our future. We got Gumby, we got that. We have Padlet going on our meetings. We have teachers using their technology, and those are our shielded classrooms. And if you need any other information on promoting your school, promoting what you're doing and letting people know, I have the information right here. Corey can share that, or I can share this with Corey. So there you go. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stuart. I'm a firm believer in keeping it fun. I love the fact that Button Willow has kept it positive, even with all the stuff we're dealing with. And the fact that you're going out, even last week, out to the farms and keeping the kids thing. I thought my favorite thing, I think you may have mentioned this, is when you had the Student of the Month, you had the mascots go to the house. I thought that was, and put the sign in the ground. That was fantastic. So thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Good stuff. And again, Stuart will help you with anything you guys need. Up next is Dr. Christine McCormick. Christine was my first hire as County Superintendent, so it's great to see you again. And the intersection of an upstream, only someone with a doctorate can think of that stuff. So welcome, and looking forward to hearing what you got to say. You got 5 minutes.
Thank you, Tim. It's good to see everybody. See a lot of familiar faces from my time at Butte County. So happy to be here. Hopefully you can see my screen at this point. So I am joining you today. I'm sitting here in Sacramento. So I guess I pay more for the internet than Tim does, but ours seems to be doing pretty well. I am an assistant superintendent with Gateway Community Charters. We run 9 charter schools here in Sacramento and Yolo County at 20 different locations. All of our charter schools are their own LEA, so we have a concept that we call connected autonomy, but we also are blessed with writing 9 of everything. So 9 LCAPs, 9 budgets, 9 of lots of different things. Our enrollment overall is about 5,700 students, but we have, some of our schools are little, about 100 to 150, up to our largest, which is 1,500. We run many different programs, seat-based as well as independent study, but we pride ourselves on serving the underserved in the Sacramento area. And we sort of ran into this concept of upstream thinking based on a book. So it is a book by Dan Heath talking about systems, and very much the introduction of the book is a story of pulling children out of the river. And this village that just keeps pulling these children out of the river and pulling them out of the river, and it occurs to them that maybe they better go upstream, and figured out why they fell in. Right, and we felt organizationally that we were often looking at life as a bunch of emergencies, even more probably now than we had before, and we needed to really think about our systems and think about how we could go upstream as an organization and begin to do things better, because it was going to benefit our students in the long run. So one of my favorite quotes from the book is that every system is perfectly designed to get the results it gets, and that when thinking about that as a leader, we have to think about how we can target leverage points. And I'll give you an example of probably one of our biggest ahas in the upstream thinking here in a minute. So what we know is we are very much drawn to the glory of rescue. I especially feel like sometimes we are that in schools, especially in the work that we do with Gateway in working with a specific type of student that we work with. And we wanted to make sure that we are recognizing that we have heroes as well. And our heroes could be that teacher who looks ahead and realizes that if she spends that extra time with that one student, that they will, and does the work upstream, they will make it to the graduation finish line. Okay. So we organizationally said, what do we need to do to move our work upstream? And probably our biggest example and our biggest aha came with one of our programs. It's about 450 students. It's an independent study program with a CTE component, but we were finding that and it was just a casual conversation I was having with the director, and he said, you know what, we've noticed that we lose about 50% of our students in the first 30 days. And all of a sudden the room stopped, and we went, we what? Well, how does that affect our dropout rate? Because that was the original part of the conversation, was we need to solve a dropout rate problem that we were having. So that small bit of data resulted in the development of what is now an organization-wide onboarding program that we started last year. And within the first 6 weeks, we were no longer losing 50% of our students in the first 30 days. We were retaining 95% of our students by creating an onboarding program with some very specific benchmarks that students had to reach in order to be able to go into true independent study. Great upstream moment that we are now replicating, unfortunately, because with COVID-19, our replication efforts are not moving the way we wanted them, but we look forward to putting it in place in a fuller way. But it's also resulted in a bit of an upstream problem of running out of space, because we also found that those students that were part of that onboarding program wanted to stay on campus, and that was not really the intention when we put it together. We were about getting them to the graduation finish line. So it's been an interesting balance to have started this program that we found that kids really felt all of a sudden very connected to, and were feeling very successful. But we had to now say, no, you met the benchmarks. You need to get off campus because we have other students coming in behind you. Okay. So the book is really built about some very specific questions, and if you you can actually just Google upstream thinking, and you'll see the image that has these questions there. But our one that we really try to focus on is the final one, which will who will pay for what does not happen. So when we're becoming frustrated and we want to look at how we can look at our systems differently, we try to make sure that we look at that component of, if we don't do something, what is the ultimate outcome of us not fixing or being able to support our students in a way they need to be supported. So we had done some work previously in the area of design thinking. So we decided to meld these concepts together, thinking that design thinking is really about empathy and how we were making sure to bring the people into the room, even when we were thinking about upstream thinking. And just the quote we try to coordinate and think about with that is that we have to have as leaders empathy for the people and think about how we are designing things and systems. Okay. And then wanted to make sure that I brought into the room the barriers that you have to identify when you're thinking upstream. Sometimes we can get stuck in problem blindness, that we don't want to see that there's a problem. Or we have staff that don't feel they have ownership, so it's not their problem to fix. And then probably the one that we find we get into, especially recently, is I just can't deal with that right now. We have other things. So how do we continue to move our systems forward and continue to think upstream even when it gets hard? And then I just had some resources to share, but I'm also always more than happy to talk about upstream thinking with anyone who is interested. And that is our work around upstream thinking.
Wow, Christine, that is good stuff. And I think, you know, the fine balance is you're looking upstream, which, you know, is to save kids' lives, but not pointing the finger upstream. You're finding out where the cause is. And what a great transition. I mean, we went from a mascot to that, to really thinking upstream. And I'd like to talk, could you do me a favor in the chat? Send me your cell phone. I want to talk to you more about this and possibly do a little longer webinar. So thank you so much for being here. Great to see you. And we're going to transition now to Tori Gibson, Rockstar Superintendent out of Nevada County. And as all great schools that I see have a foundation, they need some money that's more geared towards superintendent goals and flexible and not wrapped around all the Title I and Prop 98 issues. So Tori, welcome. Thank you for being here, and looking forward to hearing about Roots and Wings.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Like Tim said, I'm Tori Gibson. I am the superintendent in the Penn Valley School District. Our district is located on the western side of the county, completely on the opposite side from Truckee. So we're kind of down between Grass Valley and, let's say, Yuba City, Marysville. Very small community. Obviously rural and like everybody else, and primarily a retirement community, which brings some great things and obviously some struggles. So I'm just going to quickly go over, we have an educational foundation. Let me just start this up. We have an educational foundation called Roots and Wings, and it was established about 25 years ago, yet they really made their brand known around 2012. They created a mission for Roots and Wings. It's a full nonprofit, and basically it's a nonprofit public to benefit our schools. They do all kinds of things for us, and they support our charter school as well as our two main school campuses. Some of the fundraisers that they do, we do an annual golf tournament in October every year. I would say on average, it brings in about $15,000 a year, give or take. We do a wine cruise. So our community, we have a highway that divides us. So we have half the town on one side of the highway, half the town on the other, and they're very different. We used to actually be two different school districts in a very small area, and we merged into one about 7 years ago now. And during that time, one of the school districts where this project started, they have a completely gated community with a lake and a golf course. So they do a wine cruise that's actually on the lake. It's really amazing. It sells out, I would say, within hours of tickets going on sale. So what happens for that particular event is people donate their homes, backyards. We have 7 or 8 stops. We sell about 300 or more tickets. We have wineries and breweries.
That'll be good to have it.
people throughout the community who donate food and alcohol to the event. And basically everybody, the community comes together and you meet at a big park and you hop on a ferry, which are independently owned pontoon boats essentially. And it shuttles you, you check off the places that you go to. We have live music at every home. And you end up 8 houses later, wine tasting and doing all kinds of stuff. When you're done, you go back to the main shore and they have dessert for you with more dancing and live entertainment. So it's a huge success. It's always in August, usually a week or 2 right before school starts. A new fundraiser that we just started is Bites, Brews, and Bands. And we have a ton of people in our community that are willing to donate their land space to us. And so we have a lady, fortunately, that has a beautiful and amazing covered barn area that she lets us come underneath there, and we have live bands that come in and play throughout the day. We have breweries that come and set up, and then our Chamber of Commerce actually donates all of the finger foods, hot dogs, and different things. It's by ticket only. You pay for pay to get in, and then you get free reign of everything that's inside the arena. So it's a really fun event. Through COVID, we've had to be a little bit more definitely out of the box. And so they have gone out to restaurants. And so they have nights where you can go to different restaurants and 20% or whatever is spent at those restaurants, they donate back. You can do purchases through Amazon Smile. You can donate there, or you can purchase things for the school, or you can donate some of your money from your own purchases that Amazon will donate back. And then the last one is Club 365, which is where, as a community member, you can donate $1 a day. Annual fundraising is about $75,000, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for a small school district, it's a lot of money. Their board is amazing, and they pinch their pennies, I'll tell you that. They are all about making sure that every penny goes directly to students. Just some of the projects that are funded. Art and music back many years ago was their biggest funded project. We had all kinds of things going on with other organizations out in our community. Over time, as anything kind of, it gets old and teachers want something new and refreshing. And so we still do a lot with the art, not so much with the music. That particular organization kind of fizzled out a little bit, but we've also brought in a whole bunch of new things. Such as professional art lessons for our junior high students as an elective, which has been phenomenal. Our county is very rich with artists, professional artists. So they come in at a very inexpensive price, and they do continual art lessons, just really intricate things with our kids. They support us at an annual science fair. They provide funding for that. They also do mini grants for teachers, which is their most popular thing that they do. So teachers get together, they write up a proposal, they ask for a certain dollar amount, and they'll approve either all of it or some of it. Robotics is fairly new for our district. Super excited about that for our junior high students. We're also working on getting an ag program lined up with the high school with their CTE program. And our school gardens are all up and running thanks to this organization, as well as our Rotary Club. We have a great partnership with Sierra Harvest, which is an organization in our community that comes out. They do pick of the month, and they bring out fresh fruits and vegetables, and our students get to taste those. They also bring into our classrooms a chef. I want to say that's twice a year. They go into our classrooms and they do a demonstration for students and teach them how to cook, so that all of our kids get to be chefs for a day. Oops, I have robotics on there again. Sorry about that. They, a few years ago, replaced all of our sports uniforms. Those are just some of the examples. There's times we'll be in our administrative meetings, we'll come up with something that we want to do, and we'll just go to them and make that request. A lot of people ask us how it works. Basically, it's just a partnership that we created with our schools, our district office, and our parent-teacher organizations. Some of the people on the board are volunteers. A lot of them are retired teachers, which is great. It gives them something to do and to really stay connected with something that they're really passionate about. And then we are primarily a retirement community, like I said before. And so we really reach out to those organizations such as Rotary, Lions Club, and Kiwanis, and then just in general, our retirement families. We have parent volunteers. We have community business partners that also work collaboratively with us. And it's really just a true grassroots effort. So that's pretty much how it works for us.
Hey, that's awesome. You know what I love about foundations? It keeps you on the business side of things with your community. It's not just about running school, but you're actually running a business, and working with them. Those events sound really fun. I know people are like, I got to go to that wine tour or wine cruise. Let's go.
Yeah, the wine tour is phenomenal. The Brews, Bands, and Bites is pretty fun too. One of the other ones, just an example of one of the things that we're doing right now is we went out to some of our organizations, including Roots and Wings, and asked for donations for, last year we did the same thing, and our teachers all go to Scholastics and they pick out a book for a student and they wrap it and they give it to them as a holiday gift right as they leave for winter break. So every student then has a present under their tree or whatever they celebrate, but it's a book and something that they can use, and they love it. And the teachers all write a little handwritten card. So that's just another example.
Good stuff, Tori. You're a rock star. Thanks so much, and thanks for the ideas. And again, Tori will help you come up with ideas. She's really good about getting back to you right away. Thanks so much.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Hey, we're moving on. We got Travis Bradley stepping up. And Travis, thanks for being here. You know, I always say that students that went to Stanford could not get into Chico State. So, you know, welcome as a Chico State grad, and looking forward to hearing, you have 5 minutes. So looking forward to hearing from you.
Great. Thanks so much. Let me just share my screen.
Did you like my joke? That was a good joke, man.
I can't stop thinking.
Stanford people get, you know, Mary Takuma's on here. She's a Cal person. She knows Stanford people hate when I say that. So
No, I can't stop thinking about that wine cruise.
I know.
So let me know if you can't see my presentation. Okay, great.
Looks good.
Awesome, thank you. So hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Travis Bradley and I direct the Bridge to Learning project in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at Stanford University, which is in Palo Alto, California. And today I'm going to be presenting some perspective information about a new professional learning website that we're launching next year to help support educators' development of social, emotional, and cultural competencies. And we developed the Bridge to Learning project to serve a variety of school communities, but given my own background, so I'm actually originally from Virginia, a really small town in Southwest Virginia. So I am particularly interested in how we can use these digital tools to support small and rural schools. So our model is based on what we call the 3 S's: synthesis, self-reflection, and systemic integration. So synthesis refers to the integration of complementary theories, frameworks, and techniques. Self-reflection focuses on self-study and collaborative coaching. And systemic integration refers to the alignment of social, emotional, and cultural competencies with educational standards and school policies, including grading and discipline. It also means that we focus on embedding SEL into instructional practices and academic content. So we don't believe in just add-on programs and curriculum. And lastly, we really believe that it requires school-wide and indeed district level and even county level engagement. So our goal is personalized professional learning. And when we launch this website next year, it will feature these 4 components. So the first component is SEL mini courses. These are brief online courses. They only take about an hour or 2 to complete. And they will focus primarily on adolescent development, motivation, and teacher, what we call SEC competencies. So this is self-paced content that features illustrated audio books and videos and interactive exercises. The second component is digital worksheets. So these are non-evaluative self-assessments. These are for educators to use in self-coaching and in collaborative coaching. And then the third component, online professional coaching. So this is grounded in an approach called mindfulness-based cognitive behavioral coaching. So you might already be familiar with this in terms of executive coaching or life coaching or sports coaching. It's very popular now, but it is non-therapeutic. So it's not therapy, it's solutions focused. And it's really about helping educators set goals, identify barriers, engage in behavior change when needed, and monitor their progress. So, and then the final component, educator surveys, this is the community-based research component of our project. And participation in this is totally voluntary and confidential. We'll be assessing a variety of social and emotional health indicators. So we'll be looking at teacher stress and burnout, and teacher social emotional competencies. And we hope to be able to provide participating districts some rich feedback on this as well. So this is an outline, a simplified outline of our coaching model. So our goal is to identify, recruit, and train personnel at the school level or district level who can themselves become these professional educator coaches in their school communities. So if you already have an SEL coach or SEL coordinator, this might be a good opportunity for that person. If you don't have that resource, that's okay. And that's one thing we really want to learn from schools and adjust our project accordingly to meet a variety of needs and resources. So the idea is to actually build capacity within schools so that they can do this work themselves. And so teachers and coaches will have the ability to create accounts and have profiles on the website and then access these worksheets and engage in one-to-one video coaching. So this is our intended process and timeline over the next year. We like to give everyone lots of planning time. So we have this timeline, extended timeline, because we really want to take our time, listen to school partners, get feedback, learn about the actual conditions on the ground, and learn how we can be responsive to those. So beginning in the spring, or actually continuing in the spring, we'll do outreach to school districts to identify opportunities for collaboration and develop some MOUs. By summer, we hope to begin onboarding districts and training coaches. And then in the fall, we'll officially launch the website with a baseline assessment and activate the teacher account so they can begin their professional learning. And so if any of that is interesting to anyone, we'd love the opportunity to hear from you, hear about what you're already doing in terms of SEL, what's working and what you think you need, and then discuss how we might collaborate through this. So feel free to shoot me an email. That's travisb@stanford.edu. And you can check out our old website, or actually our current website. It's bridgetolearning.stanford.edu. And there you'll find some previous work, including YouTube videos and podcasts that we've created around a variety of mental health topics. So I think that's all I got. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, great stuff. And again, in the chat, can you send me your cell phone? I'd like to talk to you more about this. We cannot get enough of social emotional learning, and we're willing to work with you, especially in our towns that have been impacted by the fires and everything else. So thank you so much, and looking forward to partnering with you. Sounds great.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Well, I'm so excited now because I was on a national conference this week, and I got to watch a great presentation by Lori Allen and her dean from the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. So on the arts, and that's close to my heart. And I was really impressed with the resources you have available and your passion for the arts. So welcome to the West Coast. And Lori, thanks so much for jumping on to present today.
Oh, thank you. I am going to share my screen in a moment. So you can go ahead and start my time, but I'm going to just have a conversation just quickly. So thank you for having me. Any opportunity to talk about the arts, I jump on when I can. And so hello from Tennessee. As you can see, there's a time difference, so it might still be light out where you are, but it's dark where I am. So, but thank you to the magic of Zoom. We can be connected at any time and anywhere, which I think is really powerful. So I'm Lori Allen. I'm the Lyndhurst Chair of Excellence in Arts Education. That is a statewide program where we have chairs of excellence designated in different areas. So I'm charged with researching various impacts impacts of learning in and through the arts. The arts has had a valuable impact in my life as a first generational high school and college graduate. And most of my teaching experience has actually been in a rural setting. So I'm very passionate about working with rural schools, and bringing a lot of community resources together. So I wanted to just plant some seeds today. 5 minutes is not a long time to solve world peace, but I'm going to go for it. So I don't know any of you. And so you're either going to think I'm crazy or I'm speaking to the choir. I don't know. So I'm just going to go for it. So I hope that in the 3 minutes and 52 seconds, I'm timing myself too, that you will all be arts champions. So I love that I'm going after Travis, because I'm going to show you a connection between arts and SEL, and why this is such a tremendous opportunity, especially now. I am hearing so much about mental health of our teachers, of our staff, of our students, and how do we maintain the capacity to learn in a time where the uncertainty is maddening. I'm very biased, but I think the answer is in the arts, and I'm gonna show you those connections there, or maybe it's one of the answers. So I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm gonna zip through some resources, but before I do, so I don't forget, I'm gonna go ahead and put all the links I'm sharing in the chat so you can copy and paste and watch what I'm sharing with you later on today. So I just want to make sure, give me a thumbs up if everyone can see my PowerPoint slide and it's not in presenter mode, because I'm bad about doing that. So thumbs up. Awesome, thank you. So this is a quote from Maxine Greene, and I just think this is so important for where we are today. You know, sometimes we're really challenged, whether it's a pandemic or not, to make sure that we continue giving access to the things that really make a tremendous impact in students' lives, and unfortunately, sometimes the things that get cut first. And so I think the way that we approach this is, it's, you know, sometimes the arts is not the silver bullet, but when we think about how we might be able to change human beings who might change the world, that's all or more the reason to bring the arts into your schools, whether it's specialists, whether it's a classroom teacher integrating the arts in their practice, maybe it's the professional artist like one person shared coming in. Wherever you can make that seed happen, do it. It is so worth it and valuable, because here's where we are. Many of you have probably seen this SEL framework from Castle that shows all the different competencies when it comes to social emotional learning. Maybe you haven't seen what the artistic process is in terms of the national standards. Many of you might be coming from states that have either adopted or adapted this framework and the national art standards. And what's so beautiful about this is this relationship between arts and SEL. We can see a direct connection between these things and really show how the arts can help support these things that really build a capacity to learn. A great example. Many of you might have seen, and this is in your homework to do in the links I put in the chat, many of you might be familiar with Austin's Butterfly. If you were at the National Rural Education Conference last year, Ron Burr was one of the keynotes and he talked about this story. And this is a story of Austin, who's working on a scientific observational drawing of a butterfly and how he goes through multiple iterations and drafts to get to his final product, which looks like just like the butterfly drawing. And it's amazing to see his process. But through that process, he cultivates resiliency and persistence and confidence. And he's okay with the feedback and going back and trying again. Those are all competencies that are so important. Another great example is Kane's Arcade. I hope that if you haven't seen this, this is something that you will watch, where you just see the power of outside the box thinking and opportunity, and how a community can really come together and show just how arts can be a catalyst to so many more things than just the products themselves. I hope I have more than 12 seconds, but I don't think I do. I wanted to share this. New Jersey has actually put those things together in a framework that combines the standards with the SEL framework. I really encourage everyone to spend some time digging on this website. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but just thinking about how you can start that conversation about how the arts can be a catalyst of so many things beyond academic performance, but really thinking about that capacity building in the minds of your teachers and your students. This is such a fantastic thing that's happening, and this is the conversation that we're having in the arts on a national level is a lot of connection between the arts and SEL. You know, we get so excited in the arts when we can add the A in everything. Many of you have probably heard of STEM to STEAM. Here's the thing with SEL. We have all been SEL champions the whole time, and now we're bringing a language to these things that sometimes seem intangible in the arts, but are very much tangible in terms of the confidence. You know, a student who's going back and trying again all the practice that they go through to either be a dancer, an artist, a musician, you know, working in the theater, the ensemble building. Now we have a language and a vocabulary for that. But that can also be a bridge builder in your schools for how the arts can be that change that you're hoping to make. So this is what I want to leave you with before I say goodbye and see if there's any questions. Capacity, capacity, capacity. You know, capacity to learn is truly a gift. The ability to learn is a skill, but it's that willingness to learn that is a choice. And so I tell all the teacher candidates that I work with here at UTC and those teachers that I work in professional development that our art specialists for many students are the reason they come to school. And sometimes being the reason and being present is that entryway. So I hope that in the quick sharing of resources and maybe just a short time just to answer some questions, that this inspires you to think about the arts in maybe a different way, and some links for you to go dig around and play. So that's all I've got. I hope this was great. And I love that I went right after Travis. Hearing a long pause.
Tim, you still there?
We could ask for questions.
Yeah.
Has any questions for Lori, right? Lori Allen?
Yes.
I see two people totally agree with the arts. And SEL, I'm pretty excited about that too. So I poked in on the website. It looks really great. So do you work for a specific organization or?
So I work for University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, and I oversee a unit called the Art Space Collaborative, which serves our outreach mission to the university. And so through the outreach, we do a lot of professional development and arts integration, both in schools and also professional settings. So we have a whole school arts integration model that we work with schools to implement. That is a much bigger conversation than 5 minutes. Definitely a lot of frameworks there. But then I also oversee our standardized patient program, where acting students go enroll as patients for nursing students, which is a really great kind of technical application to theater.
So people can email you and put your email in the.
Absolutely, please. And I am an open book. I am a firm believer in sharing. And I also like to be a connector whenever I can. And so if I know the person, I'm happy to be that bridge. I love to brainstorm. I love to look at what funding opportunities do exist. I do a lot of grant writing and consulting. And as chair, that's a resource that's available to anybody who just needs kind of some ideas to help frame an idea or see how you can get support there as well too. I would love to talk to Dustin about Title IV funding. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, great, Lori. Sorry, I was on mute on my phone, so it didn't really quite. I was ringing bells and talking, and but I really want to thank you. We are going to host a longer webinar with the arts, so we have a crying need for that. We've done technology and SEL and others, so we will get back to you. So great to see you. Love your passion, and stick around for the next couple presentations.
Absolutely, this is great.
Yeah.
So great to meet everybody.
Thank you. Hey, let's kick it over to Tim Nordstrom up in Trinity, one of the most beautiful parts of California. Some will say it is the most beautiful. And Tim, thanks for being on today. What a perfect handoff for you to go from Tennessee Arts to Trinity.
Yeah, this is great. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Like Tim was saying, I'm Tim Nordstrom, and I'm the Director of Ed Services up at our county office in Trinity County. And yes, Tim, it is the most beautiful place in all of California. If you've ever been up to the Trinity Alps near Mount Shasta, beautiful area. We do have some dusting of snow today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So today, my superintendent actually asked if I would share a couple things. She typically attends these. But last, obviously, when COVID hit and the schools shut down, we were scrambling to figure out how do we create some continuity with the students So everything's not just out the window when teachers were going crazy. So we decided, you know, we've got our art show coming up. We had our STEAM Expo coming up. So let's go ahead and throw those into virtual platforms. So that's what we did. And I think I'll have enough time to share both of them just a little bit. So for a Young Artist Showcase, so I just broke it down in a normal school year. Typically, you know, we have all the different school districts, and this can just be a one school thing, you know, all the different classes. Basically, they come together and we host it in a local gallery. You know, due to COVID, I had to kind of think outside the box because our gallery was closed, as well as all our schools. So I had to figure out how to get artwork, you know, from these kids who were distance learning and things like that. So what we did was we went ahead and got the artwork from all the kids, you know, from each school. And we uploaded it on Google Drive. We took pictures of them. And, you know, I said right there, we did a lot of prepping for it. Took some pictures, put the student info on. And then, you know, it would have been easy for me just to put it all together in some sort of presentation. But instead, we had 2 of our AP art students up at our high school go ahead and take that on. So they took, it was probably close to 300 projects. And, you know, they had to categorize it. They had to figure out how to present it. So they went with Prezi. And actually, maybe I'll just show that to you right now. So this is what they came up with. They decided to go through Prezi, and this was the beginning of it. So the 2 students right here. Anyway, they designed the whole thing. You know, they decided how to, you know, separate all the art pieces, which was kind of a big job, you know, for kids. And then they decided to further separate it by grade level for some of them, depending on how many they had. Yeah, so some of them are even designated by grade level. Anyway, it was really cool to involve the kids. We involved our local arts council as well. And then we pushed this out to the community and actually to our whole northern region, just as a way to keep continuity when these kids are distance learning or doing hybrid or jumping back and forth. It was really nice. We had some really good feedback, especially from our most rural district, which is 3 hours away from us in the middle of nowhere, like you all are probably used to. You know, they typically can't travel up to where our gallery is, you know, to view the show every year. You know, a lot of the schools come and they have their kids, you know, take field trips and come visit the show. But they really appreciated the virtual content because more people could see it. And a lot more community members throughout the county could see it, where typically they wouldn't, you know, be able to travel in, you know, to town to see it either. So that was the first one. And then the second one is a STEAM Expo. Typically we hold a STEAM Expo every spring. And it's just an expo. It's not a competition. So it's just to celebrate kids learning and, you know, just sharing of their projects. So I have a couple of them mentioned there. You know, and obviously we couldn't meet because usually that's, you know, 500 people from the community show up. You know, we have kids and businesses show up and partner together and do a lot of different activities. So we threw this up virtually. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't even know if we get enough kids because this was at the end of May, you know, right before school ended. So we pushed it out to the community through Facebook, through our local newspaper. And I was pleasantly surprised at what we got. If you see in the description down here, you know, typically we have projects that are traditional or a lot of robotics or a lot of hands-on STEM type activities. We had a lot of 3D printing projects the last few years. And this year was different because we went virtual. So a lot of our kids live up in the mountains or down by the river. So for example, some of the projects this year is, you know, I had a little girl out in one of our remote locations construct a koi pond. So she took us through the whole process and videoed the whole process and narrated it for us. You know, I had another kid who borrowed our 3D printer because he wanted to print ear savers for our local medical clinic, you know, for their masks. So that was another one. He, you know, again, he walked us through the whole printing process. He actually showed some of the printing and, you know, how it worked and things like that. So it was a lot of outdoorsy and just out of the box thinking. Obviously, you know, you can't build a koi pond in a gym where we typically hold an expo. You know, we had a gal, you know, who wanted to repurpose a chicken coop. you know, with a lot of repurposed products. And that was kind of cool. She took us through that. So that one, let me go ahead and show you here. So this one, I'll just show you a quick clip. So what we did was we just took all the videos and all the PowerPoints and all the pictures, and we had some kids edit the whole thing together. So this is the kid with the ear saver, which is pretty cool. So the whole video is only about 25 minutes. You know, we have kids doing their science projects, which is kind of cool. You know, here's, I think this was some sort of garden project these girls did. But it's kind of cool because it's, you know, very outside the box. Let me unshare my, my project's still going. Hold on. So anyway, it worked out really well. You know, we had, I think we had about 25 projects, and that was pretty good for being the end of May. You know, schools were fully closed. There was very little communication. So we just did it all virtually through video, but it helped the kids. They appreciated it because they look forward to this every year. So it was the continuity, especially just for their peace of mind, you know, something that's kind of routine. So we'll be doing those things again this year, I'm assuming in the spring. And we're coming up with lots of different ways to do virtual activities, you know, with kids in different classrooms and things like that. So anyway, thanks for having me. We had a ball.
Great job. Great job, Tim. Great leadership and great way to keep it student focused up there. I love it, man, because kids still like to show off their artwork. We got 70 pieces, Corey and I, today on our holiday calendar, our holiday submission for postcard. We were so excited to look at artwork today. It's a way to keep it alive, man. Great job. Great
Awesome.
job.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, now we're heading out to Arizona State. Love it. I was just reading about the Gamage project with Frank Lloyd Wright. Pretty amazing story. So Michael Reed and Desiree, nice to meet you too. And thanks for being here. Looking forward to what you got. This looks great. What a beautiful building, by the way.
Yeah, thank you very much. I am Michael Reed. I'm our Senior Director of Programs and Organizational Initiatives here at ASU Gamage in Tempe, Arizona. We're on the Tempe campus. That beautiful building is an iconic building, Frank Lloyd Wright's last public design, ASU Gamage. So we are the largest arts presenting organization in the Southwest. We were the second stop on the tour of Hamilton when it first came out on tour, and worked with Lin-Manuel and his father's foundation and Gilder Lehrman on presenting EduHam, which was for 10th grade history students in a fabulous program. We have many different arts education programs for a good 28 years, and performances for students is what we're talking about today, because we have a recent opportunity to be able to make our performances for students available to schools throughout the state of Arizona and beyond, because of the generosity of a family foundation who shares a core belief in supporting Title I schools and access to world-class artists. So I will pass it to Desiree. We will tag team on this presentation. Desiree, take it away.
Hi, so I'm Desiree Ong. I'm the Educational Enrichment Program Manager for ASU Gamage. So performances for students, they're all cultural dance, music, and theater performances aimed for K through 12 students. And like Michael said, they're going to be virtual this year. They will all be free this year, which is a change from in-person. And they all come with curriculum guides that are aligned with state standards, as well as socio-emotional learning standards. So teachers that register will get those curriculum guides ahead of time. Here at Gamage, our mission is connecting communities. And so once COVID hit, we had to rethink how we're going to still be able to reach and support our student population. So this was the solution that we came up with, and our donors have donated money to be able to buy live streaming equipment. And thanks to Dustin, who introduced us to this organization, we want to offer that to your school districts as well. As Lori so eloquently expressed earlier, the arts have been shown to help with social emotional learning, and we really hope that these arts opportunities, bring a little bit of joy and happiness to the students and teachers. Okay, so here's our lineup for performances for students. Michael, go ahead for Dance Theater Harlem.
Sure. So we have a long relationship with Dance Theater of Harlem. They are simply an iconic American arts institution. They were started in 1968 by the legendary Arthur Mitchell when Dr. King was assassinated. Mr. Mitchell was a star in New York City Ballet, George Balanchine's company, and decided he needed to create an institution for young African-American children to understand that they too could be world-class ballet dancers, and that's exactly what he did. We have helped support Dance Theater of Harlem for many years. What the plan is to live stream from our theater, from the Gamage stage, out to schools throughout Arizona and beyond. The second performances for students, artists, and show is a show called The Real James Bond Was Dominican. And that's actually true. Ian Fleming's inspiration for the Bond stories was an agent called Porfirio Rubirosa. And Christopher Rivas is an actor from New York who is Dominican, and he discovered this, and it was an enormous sense of pride for him as a young Dominican boy. And so the power of this story is going to be focused on high schoolers and through our smaller venue, the Care Cultural Center in Scottsdale. And we have seen through the years when we have a cultural specificity, and that is the focus of our series, is a global cultural learning that we can offer to the schools that's required by the state standards. This story and this actor were just too important to pass up, so we'll be offering that. Desiree, take us away for our last two artists.
Yes, on March 12th, we have Pacifico Dance Company, which is a Mexican folklorico dance company based in LA. And what I like about their performance is they also highlight the different geographic regions of Mexico. So the costumes and the dance styles, they actually come out and they explain it before they do the dance. So that's Pacifico Dance Company. And our last one on March 29th is Typo Project. And they are a taiko group that also combines modern techniques and music. So Typo Project will be on the 29th. Registration for, again, this free series, it's free this year, opens in January 2021. The website is here, and I'll also put it in the chat. And in the meantime, you can sign up now for our education email list. So we're using that as a way to kind of launch information about how our programs are shifting. We also have High School Musical Theater Awards. We have a teaching artist program that does arts integration. We have Camp Broadway with full scholarships. So please sign up right now, and we'll pass on the information that way.
And one of the things I did want to mention is that every one of our performances for students, Desiree does an amazing job on working with the artists and working with teachers on creating study guides that really do connect to the standards and do really draw out the cultural specificity of the artist. And I also want to just point out that my background is as a professional ballet dancer. I worked in Europe and Canada and toured all over the world. And the social emotional learning piece that we're talking about now, I have really experienced through the years as a dancer working with student populations, basically through kinetic learning and through sort of a human language that artists have that you really cannot communicate with in words. So I'm really very happy to see the social emotional learning coming to the fore here in a lot of different ways. And
well, listen, you guys, you're like Santa Claus to me. I miss live performances so much. I miss live concerts. I'm dying for live music, but this is second best, and I really appreciate you reaching out to us. Our kids need more exposure in rural areas, small towns, especially the farther they are away from the hub. And we will definitely get some partnerships going with our schools. And what a pleasant surprise for you guys to jump on here and talk to us. We're really thankful, and I got to see that theater someday. So thank you so much for being here. That was really a gift. Thank you. We're going to move on to Matt Coleman. Let me see if I got it right. Hold on. Thanks, you guys. Hey, Matt, calling from Oregon.
That's right.
He's up in Oregon. And Matt, it's Oregon weather here. It's raining in NorCal. So good to see you. And again, thanks for all your collaborative work. Matt's been working with California schools on the MTSS structure for 3 or 4 years now. And him and I are working on helping his schools with the fire. So Matt, thanks for being here. You have 5 minutes and we're off to happy hour, man. You're between the bottle of, you're between you and the bottle of wine for people. So thanks for being the anchor.
Hey, there's nothing worse than following Arizona State and the gift that they brought in happy hour. Kind of sitting between that, but I appreciate it. And as Tim mentioned, we've been focused on MTSS and across California in a variety of settings, both large urban as well as rural. And I want to capture some of the findings, and I'm going to tie in a little bit of how to keep the arts relevant, just because that's been a theme in the last 4 or 5 presentations. What we know from organizational theory is that organizations, and I'm talking from the business literature, that are built to last and that are really effective are those that have clarity of identity. They know who they are, and they've got clarity of purpose. They know what they're trying to get done. When you have those 2 anchors, you can align the structures and approaches. And in any business and any organization, I don't just mean for-profit, I'm talking not-for-profits also, from the business literature, anyone that is actually having any kind of impact and is being effective long-term, they have clarity of those 2 anchors, and then they align their structures and their approaches. Applied to school, you think of it in this way. Those schools, and we've been working with a couple hundred schools, again, mostly from across California, those schools that know who they are in terms of their identity, and that identity informs their structures that supports approaches to learning that empower student readiness, are those that are thriving, those that are making it work for all kids and for all staff. One of the key issues that we see, and when I say those schools that do, there's only a handful. Of the couple hundred we've been in over the last 4 or 5 years, there's literally 10 to 15 schools and districts that have real clarity on these 2 anchors, the vision for readiness and identity. One of the things that I'd like you to think about is this. Answer this question and just think about it for yourself. Our school community shares a defined common language of vision for readiness that includes and prioritizes social-emotional, critical thinking, and academic skills. On a 1 to 4 scale, where are you? Not even, 1, 2, sort of, somewhat, absolutely. Underscore the idea that we're talking about students, staff, and families. We're not just talking about you as a superintendent or your leadership teams or key staff. We're talking about the community. We're talking about all of the stakeholders. What we have found when we ask this question is that most folks are in the 1 to 2 range in terms of a clear vision for readiness. What we know from the literature around school change over the last 25 years, the lack of consensus of outcomes, the lack of a shared vision for readiness, the lack of clarity of purpose in schools has been a huge obstacle to change. Part of the piece with the arts, part of why the arts are always kind of first on that cutting list, is the cut list when times get tough, is because we have not clearly articulated elements of social emotional learning specifically as being explicit outcomes that are part of our purpose. When those things, and we start to elevate the idea of self-management and self-awareness and relationships and everything that makes up Castle's framework specifically, you start to see where the arts actually are a critical piece to the structures and the processes that you're going to have in place to move kids to the outcomes if you have elevated SEL specifically. From an identity perspective, what we see, and again, think of it in terms of this question for your own district. Our school community, again, students, staff, and families share values and beliefs that are articulated in some form of a statement of identity, different than a vision or a mission statement. Really, they're statements of values and beliefs and kind of mental models, the way that you see the world. Basically, ask yourself this. If asked, anyone in your community would provide a similar response to the question, who are we as a district? And again, kind of on the 1 to 4 scale. What really the concept of identity gets at, it's what's below the surface. What's above the surface, what in you know, this visual of a tree, you know, the trunk and the branches and everything, that's your culture and your climate and the systems and the processes and the elements of that people can actually see and feel and touch. What's below the surface are the values and the beliefs and the mental models. Often what we find in schools is, and in districts, is that they have not clearly identified or articulated a shared identity and a shared vision for readiness, those two anchors. You need to be able to get to the 3s and the 4s that, yeah, we have a clear sense of what we're trying to get done for all kids, and it is holistic, and it includes SEL, and includes critical thinking, it includes more than just the classic outcomes that we've always been held responsible for. You also need a clear sense of who we are. This is what we value, this is what we believe. When you have those two pieces, you can make the tough choices around the structures and approaches to learning by making sure that you're making choices that align. Do our approaches to learning align with our shared vision for readiness? Do our structures actually reflect who we are? I put the link there, and I will stop sharing my screen real quick, and we'll try to hit there. I've got in the chat room, I put a link to a presentation or a document that goes much deeper on this concept of identity and shared vision for readiness, and why those are two anchors for creating effective schools and having an effective district.
Yeah, Matt, you know this. I think the schools that dove into this work pre-wildfire, pre-COVID, and all that were more prepared for the pandemic than others, and it does take some courageous leadership. And I encourage anybody to reach out to Matt. He's great to work with. He's super understanding of small rural communities, and really appreciate you being here. And thanks for being the anchor. It's good stuff. And to all of you, I hope you guys got the takeaway, met some new people, and please follow up. As usual, Corey, thanks for setting everything up. She will get all these PowerPoints out to you and contacts, and I'm going to go sign up for tickets to the theater with Arizona State. So on that note, everybody, have a good day. Take care.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you so much.